everybody. Ramadan Kareem, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most kind. I wanted to take a few minutes of your time today to say Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah bless us all with a spiritual and blessed month. Our fastings be accepted, our ibadats be raised to heaven every single night, and we be kind of our hearts and mindful of our tongues. In our series to introduce some of the converts in the recent years, MCC is trying to focus every Saturday on one person who has impacted one of us in our personal way or in our mosque. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to one of my favorite people, Georgia. So, Georgia plays many roles in my life. She's my mentor because although she's much younger than I am, she has taught me that once you set your mind to be guided towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find ways towards Him. And He opens doors of ease and mercy and raises you. She inspires me to be a better Muslim every day, and I hope her story will inspire you as well. Georgia is a daughter to me. She's a part of my family, and we have grown to appreciate. And this Ramadan, we are very sad that we don't get to see her just yet. We're hoping that by Eid, we will be able to visit with her and she can come over. And more than anything, Georgia is a friend with whom I giggle and I laugh. And we share lots of common things about books and shows and what crazy stuff we have been up to. So without any further ado, I will introduce you to Georgia and ask her to give us a little background on who she is.
Assalamualaikum. Oh my gosh, that was such a nice intro. Thank you, Humera. So I let's see, general background about me. I grew up in the Bay Area. I'm going to college right now for creative producing for film and television. And I converted officially at MCC 2.5 years ago, I believe. Yeah, that's a quick background about me.
What's your passion, Georgia? Tell everybody about that because I think it's very fascinating.
I love writing and producing like TV and films. I grew up watching movies, and movies have always been a really big part of my life. And so I love telling stories, whatever form. And representation is also really important to me. So I hope to be able to write and tell lots of different people's stories so people can see themselves on screen.
And I'm very excited for Georgia to step into this field. I think Muslim representation by a female is definitely needed, and we're very excited to soon see in the credits Georgia's name and go cheer her on. So please keep her in your duas. So today, because it's Ramadan, it's the actually first of Ramadan, right after Jummah Salah, that we are sitting to chat. And so Georgia, I just wanted to ask you, what was your first Ramadan like? What was good? What was hard? Tell us a little bit about your first experience.
Yeah, so my first Ramadan that I actually fasted for was 3 years ago. So when I was a senior in high school, I had been kind of studying Islam for about a year, but the previous Ramadan, I just didn't really know what to do, so I hadn't done much. So my first official one, it was still before I took Shahada, but that's when I fasted for the whole month. And it was good, and it was also very hard because I was not connected to any community yet. I hadn't really found a masjid that I felt kind of comfortable and at home in. So most of the month was just me fasting by myself in my house, and it was senior year, and it was graduation. It was all the senior year things that were happening, and so alhamdulillah, I still managed to like fast through all of those. And my friends were very, very supportive. They, I think, made me feel very. They never, made fun of me or anything for fasting. They were always very encouraging. They always would count me down until Maghrib time. Like they would make a really big thing out of it, and like, oh yay, she can finally eat. And it was just kind of a joke that like whenever we would go somewhere to the movies or we'd go to an event, I would just have a massive amount of food in my bag so that when Maghrib time hit, I just straight up brought out like a Tupperware of like rice and beans and like a massive water bottle, and it's just like, wherever we are, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna start eating now because I'm hungry. But yeah, so even though I didn't have a Muslim community, my close friends, all of whom were non-Muslim, were super supportive and super helpful, and kind of made that part of Ramadan fun. And I think it's near the end of that Ramadan that I actually reached out to MCC East Bay, and that is when I got connected with Munir and Humaira. And so that was really great, and I wish I had done that sooner. But yeah.
Just to remind everybody that Georgia was not a converted Muslim. She had done tons of research. The first time I met her, I was blown away by how much, mashallah, she knew. And in my heart, it was like, she's already a Muslim. She practices like anybody who was born into it, or who has done a lot of research into it. She was doing salah. She knew a lot of the all the arkans. She had fasted this whole month all alone without any support. That was just amazing to me. And I think that was our first meeting and our first connection. And since then, it has been, alhamdulillah, a bond that I hope to continue will flourish as time goes on. So also another thing that was that since then, what about your second experience in Ramadan, or after converting? How did you feel? Was the community supportive of you? Did you feel that your needs were being met? Or what would you like us as a community to improve upon?
Yeah, I think the big difference for me between like my first Ramadan and the next ones were not even really taking the shahada that made that much of a difference, but me seeking and like kind of attaching myself to a masjid. Because because I was a teenager, I didn't have a driver's license, it's hard to get places anyway. But before, I just didn't have a community. So once I found one like MCC that I felt comfortable in, then it was like, oh, okay, I need to like look at all the events they're doing and see if I can make any of these. So that's, and also going off to college, there was a Muslim Student Association. So there were a couple things, a couple events that we had. But I think for converts, how masjids can accommodate them, I would say, is just be really open-minded and easygoing. That it's really hard to fast. It's really hard to pray 5 times a day, and like a convert might want to fast Ramadan even if they've only been studying for 6 months, and they might not even have all 5 prayers down yet. But just to kind of meet them where they're at, which I think MCC East Bay and a lot of mosques are good at, but just making sure as community members, you're not like, oh, it's your first Ramadan, well, you're going to pray in the mosque every night, you're going to go to Tarawih, and like, I didn't even know what Tarawih was. I don't think I prayed Tarawih until like my second Ramadan, which is good, because it people can start, especially during Ramadan, because so many born Muslims are excited about all the sunnah that you can do during the month. It's like, well, you got to slow down. With converts, just help them focus on the fard, because they don't even understand all of that yet sometimes. So yeah, and just knowing that if there are converts in your community, just being proactive about reaching out to them and inviting them to iftars, and especially Eid. Ramadan can be really lonely as a convert, but Eid especially can be just so sad when you don't have, like, I always threw an Eid party with kind of my friends and my family, none of them Muslim, but I would just make food and just like put up decorations and but it's just different when you're able to have just a Muslim like family to celebrate it with. And so that was really nice that, alhamdulillah, I've been able, after I met Humaira, I've been able to celebrate all the Eids with her. And that just makes a world of a difference, because it's, you know, you finally get that celebration, you get that community and kind of feeling like you're really, you know, you get to experience what all the other like born Muslims talk about, because a lot of born Muslims are like, Ramadan is all about Taraweeh and then Eid and we're going out and it's all like fun, and converts we're like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. So just being proactive, I think, and reaching out to them, because I know I was really shy and really hesitant to reach out or to ask for help or anything, because I didn't really know what a masjid could offer.
Those are some valuable gems that you have sent our way, and I hope that the community, not only of Pleasanton, but other mosques, do embrace that and are more welcoming and connect converts to families, so that they have their own little, they have a bigger community, and then they have a smaller family that they can connect to, call upon, go break bread with, and stuff like that. It has been an immense pleasure having you every Eid with us since then. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was, now that it's you have spent 3 Ramadans on and off at MCC, because I know with school you were not here throughout all Ramadan last 2 years. But what was your favorite memory? What you look back and you go like, wow, that was nice.
Yeah, I thought I had to think a lot about this question, because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to run through everything. But I think what clearly stands out in my mind is last year Ramadan was finally like kind of during the school year. It'd been mainly in summer, but last year kind of half of it was in the school year. And so my school's Muslim Student Association put on just a massive iftar for kind of the whole university Muslim community, and that was probably just the best experience, because it was an iftar where I finally like knew everyone because even going to MCC, going to all their events, mashallah, just great events, but just because I am not able to spend a lot of time at MCC, I just don't know people that well, especially people my age. I just don't know them. So last year, when I had been going to MSA for 2 years, so I really knew most of the people who were in it. I knew a lot of the Muslim professors. And so to actually be able, that was only my 3rd or 4th community iftar ever that I'd been to, like in 3 Ramadans. And so to be able to go to that and to be able to say hi to everyone, and to everyone who's talking to you and praying together and just eating together, it was so fun. And I finally kind of understood, like, oh, this is what born Muslims get like every night, because they have all their family over and they have their friends and they go to IHOP with their friends at 5 a.m. and like all of that like experience that born Muslims have told me about. I was like, oh, like this is it. This is fun. This is really cool. So yeah, that was definitely a very special moment. Yeah.
Well, that does sound like a lot of fun, and I wish you were able to do that this year too. And I was hoping that we would not be in shelter in place and we would get to do some qiyams together and go for sahur, maybe to Mirchi or IHOP this year. But seems like we will not be able to. But inshallah, let's hope that Allah blesses us with more Ramadans together and we can do that.
Yes.
Another question that was put forward to me to ask you is that what advice do you have to the converts? Some of the converts that we have in our community are very, very new. They might be just a few weeks, a couple of months. This might be their first Ramadan. What advice would you like to give them?
I would say the main thing is to just like go easy on yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up too much. If you've never fasted before, it's really hard. So if you don't make every single one, like that's okay. You might feel like you're, not comparing to born Muslims. If you know born Muslims, you might feel like you're kind of like failing or not meeting a certain standard, but like really go easy on yourself first Ramadan. And like I said before, like don't worry about Taraweeh, don't worry about any of the sunnahs, just focus on like, if you're not there yet with the 5 prayers, then try to get there. Fast as you're able to, do lots and lots of research about like what foods are the most helpful, because sometimes born Muslims, the foods they eat during Ramadan are not the best for fasting. So if you're fasting with born Muslims, they might be like, breaking their fast with like fried food, like lots of samosas and stuff like that. And if you've never fasted before and you're not used to it, fried food can wreck your stomach. So keep that in mind, like do your own research and like eat very simple foods like soup, oatmeal, keep it simple, easy on your stomach. And also be honest that you're fasting with whoever you're living with, whether it's your family, whoever it is, they're going to figure out that something's up, and it's best, if it's safe for you to do so, to just be like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm fasting. Yeah, that's and it's also a good way to kind of start introducing the fact that you are Muslim to other people. It's kind of a good segue, because there's never really a time, if someone has known you for a long time, for you to be like pop this new thing on them unless you look differently. So Ramadan can be a really good way for at your work or at your home to be like, hey, like I'm not going to be eating during sunlight hours, and this is why. But yeah, just go easy on yourself.
Tell me, how is this Ramadan coming along with shelter in place, being at home, still have school, full on finals coming up, not being able to come to the mosque? How are you handling all of those stresses?
Alhamdulillah, I mean, shelter in place, definitely not ideal. But I mean, I've had Ramadans like this before, so like this isn't super different for me, so I think I wish, of course, that I could go to the masjid more. Now that I have a driver's license, I can drive. I could have gone any time. I was thinking about that. I was like, but it's okay, alhamdulillah. So I think this Ramadan it's going to be different for all of us, but not too different for me. And I think I'm just trying to focus on, just going easy on myself.
Are there any lectures or any programs that you're excited to listen to during this Ramadan?
I made a playlist of lectures. My goal, inshallah, was to kind of listen to like one lecture every day from like a bunch of different places. But this Ramadan, all my lectures are ustadas and sheikhas, so they're all women that I'm listening to. And I really, sometimes if you don't know the scholars, you really have to dig through YouTube to find these. But I think part of like the last year, I've definitely struggled with my faith and feeling a little bit disconnected. And I think one way as sisters that we can reconnect is, being able to listen to female scholars and that, because I think for any women converts, when I was converting, I listened to kind of all like the internet famous like sheikhs and all of that, which is not a bad thing, but I got one very specific point of view of Islam, and it was always from men's point of view. And so I think I'm trying this Ramadan to really connect with kind of the female scholarship that exists in our faith, because it does exist and it's awesome, mashallah. So I would really recommend any female converts to, look into talks with women, Quran recitation by women. That's also something that can be challenging to find, but it's out there, it exists. One of my favorite ustadas, Mariam Amir Brahimi. I'm going to pronounce your last name wrong, but
You're pronouncing it right.
okay, yeah. She's a scholar from Southern California, and she's just amazing. And she is having this Ramadan like movement to encourage women to like post videos of themselves reciting Quran, so that the next generation of women knows that the Quran is open to them. It's for them to yeah. So she's a really cool person that I've been following, and so she's
so energetic.
She is
so energetic.
I've been able to meet her once in person and listen to her speak, and she's just amazing, very talented.
Oh, mashallah. How about sharing that list with us? Because I also struggle with that thing that as you said, that it's very easy to, alhamdulillah, there are many resources to find in our times. Now, this time, ask me when 15 years ago or 20 years ago, when I was a mom with young kids, it was very hard to find resources that you could sit home and still be inspired by these great scholars, male or female. And female scholarship was not very prominent at that time at all. So we are very blessed that we live in these times where through internet and Instagram and Facebook and Zoom, we have access to, mashallah, scholars from all around the world. So I would love for you to share that with me. And with that note, I just wanted to say we miss you terribly. We hope to see you soon, even if we can social distance appropriately. And so I hope we can do that. Just this morning, we were discussing that Eid, we have to somehow manage to see each other and at least wish one another. I wish you a blessed Ramadan, Georgia, and let me know if you need anything, and let MCC, Munir, myself, we are all here at the service of anybody who needs just a ear to listen to, just a helping hand. Take care. Hafiz.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.